Hello Palians, welcome back. A little while ago I did a complete up-to-date mining guide and I'm back again to give you all the info you need about hunting and give you some tips and tricks along the way. Hunting is a great way to make money, so it's really important to get this skill nailed down. I hope whether you're an old player or a new player you can take something away from this video. Don't forget to like and also subscribe for more Palia content, but here we go. Before you head out hunting, you obviously need to have the right tools. For hunting in Palia, you are required to use a bow, and the lowest level of bow is the makeshift bow. This is awarded to players at the very beginning of their Palia journey. The first upgrade for your bow is a standard bow. In order to get the recipe for this, you must be hunting level 3 and you must have reached an overall player level of 10. If you have done all of that, you will then be able to purchase a recipe for 200 gold. To craft the standard bow, you will need 20 sapwood planks, 5 copper bars, and the makeshift bow itself. The standard bow shoots further than the makeshift one. When you reach hunting level 6, you will unlock the recipe for the fine bow, which again allows you to shoot even further than the predecessor. The recipe for this bow is available again in the guild store, but this time it will cost you 1,500 gold. For crafting this bow, you will need 10 heartwood planks, 5 iron bars, and again it will consume your previous bow. The current highest level of bow is the exquisite bow, which, you've guessed it, shoots further than the fine bow. This recipe unlocks at hunting level 9 and it costs 3,000 gold. For this, you will need 5 wood planks, 5 Palian bars, and obviously your fine bow to craft it. This is the bow you should be aiming to get, as although the damage does not increase, the distance upgrade is definitely welcome, as it means you can get more shots in from further afield without kind of spooking creatures, and you can kind of have a better way of keeping an eye on the movement and the way that they are heading. Bows obviously require arrows, and there is a variety of different kinds within Palia. The lowest level and the one that deals the least amount of damage is the makeshift arrow. Because of its low level, you only need 5 sapwood and 1 flint to make 20. You can also buy these from the general store, and there is a stall at the Magi Market that sell them. You can obtain 5 for 20 gold, so yeah, really cheap. I would only recommend that you use these if you are a beginner in the game or you are hunting low level creatures, as you will need to get more hits on the animal if you are using these low level forms of arrow. The next level of arrow is the standard arrow, and these ones take 5 sapwood again, but they also take 1 copper bar to make. You can purchase these from the hunting guild store when you reach level 10, and you can buy them for 3 hunting medals each in a quantity of 20, so that's pretty good. The recipe for the standard arrow can be purchased again from the hunting guild store when you hit level 2, and the recipe only costs 50 gold. You will also find that you can receive these from Zeki's Wondrous Machine, and you may also find them in treasure chests scattered throughout Bahari Bay. The next arrow is the fine arrow, which deals a high level of damage. These ones you can one hit on the lower tier of Cernics, Chappers, and Mujin. When you hit hunting level 5, you can purchase this recipe from the Hunters Guild store. They take 5 heartwood and 1 iron bar to craft 20. You can also purchase these using guild store medals when you hit hunting level 10, and you can trade 5 hunting medals for 20 arrows. You may also find that you pick them up in your rock garden from the Kitsu. Fine arrows have now become my go-to arrows since they nerfed the slowdown arrows. Slowdown arrows are an arrow which does an average amount of damage and slows down the creature, which may sound good because once you have slowed them down, you will see that they are noticeably run a lot slower and there is a puff of smoke around them, so you know that there is an active effect on them. The recipe for these is available at skill level 4 for 500 gold. The crafting ingredients for this one are 5 sapwood, 1 copper bar, and 1 briar daisy. This will make you 20 arrows. You can also purchase these from the Hunting Guild store, and you have a chance to receive these from Zeki's Wondrous Machine, and you'll also find them again in your rock garden. These arrows really did used to be my favourite, however I do not use them now when hunting solo since the Elderwood update, and they reduced the amount of damage that they inflict. Dispel arrows are a very important type of arrow in the game, and you can obtain this recipe when you are hunting level 7. These deal a high level of damage, and they will also put a temporary stop on magical creatures' abilities. For example, the Proudhorn Cernic will lose its ability to teleport, and the magic Mujin will not be invisible for a set amount of time. To craft these, you need 1 flow-infused wood, 1 iron bar, and 1 bright shroom. You can also purchase these from Hassian, but you will need to be hunting level 10, and again, these can drop from Zeki's Wondrous Machine and your Rock Garden. And finally, the newest type of arrow is the Elderwood Arrow. This is unlocked as part of the Shot in the Dark quest, and these will allow you to hit infected creatures, even if you do not have the necessary relic active. These can be crafted, and you will need 5 ancient wood, 1 Palian bar, and 10 infected essence. These can also randomly drop from your pixie grove. In my opinion, after attaining the Bag of Illusion relic, for me these have become kind of obsolete and I never carry them. But you will need them if you have not yet done the full Elderwood main story questline. So that is a lot of different kinds of arrows, so you might be thinking which one is the best to carry. Well, as I said, since the update and the nerfing of the slowdown arrows, the arrows that I primarily tend to carry and use are fine arrows, and I will also have some dispel arrows as a backup if I know that I will be solo hunting. Fine arrows are generally cheap to craft and they do a good amount of damage, including 1 or 2 shotting the majority of the lower tiered animals. However, if you are going to be heading out as a group, it is definitely worthwhile having someone in your party using those slowdown arrows, as it will make the creature easier to hunt for everyone. So now that we have the necessary tools, let's see where is best to hunt and what exactly we are trying to hunt. In Kilima, you will find Chappers and Cernics. In total, there are 3 kinds of Chappers, but you will only find the spotted and striped variety in Kilima, as these are the lower level ones. It is worth knowing that when hunting Chappers, they will try to run away from you and burrow into the ground. All Chappers will drop fur and Chapper meat, but the spotted Chapper will also have a chance to drop a spotted Chapper tail, and the striped will also have a chance to drop a striped Chapper tail. Both types will also have a chance to drop their respective Chapper plushes. You will also only find 2 versions of Cernic in Kilima, the standard Cernic and the higher level Elder Cernic. All Cernic drop Cernic meat and hide. They also have a chance to drop Cernic or Elder Cernic antlers, and of course the Cernic or Elder Cernic plushes. My preferred areas to hunt in Kilima are the Whispering Banks area and the flat space south of Leafhopper Hills. These spots generally have good spawns. Whispering Banks is slightly better if you are just looking for Cernics, and you may also find Chappers outside of the ranch and around Remembrance Gardens behind Shane's house, but this isn't always guaranteed. The mirror fields will also spawn both, but this area is a little bit hilly and sometimes that can be a little bit annoying. Moving on to Bahari, and you'll be able to find all of the creatures I have just mentioned, as well as some magical ones. The first is the Proudhorn Cernic, which has a variety of different nicknames that you may see in the game chat. This includes Glamby and Disco Deer. They have these nicknames because when spooked by players, by either getting too close to them or when hit with an arrow that is not a dispel arrow, the Cernic will teleport a small distance away and you will see kind of blue flashing lights on the ground as well. Dispel arrows are the best way to hunt these creatures, as the effect will be removed and you'll be able to hunt it normally. The Proudhorn Cernic will also drop higher rates of meat and hide, but there is also the chance for you to get the highly valuable Proudhorn Cernic antlers and obviously the Proudhorn Cernic plush, which is my favourite of all the Cernic plushies. The magical creatures don't stop there, as there is also the rare Azure Chapper, which is a magical variety of Chapper. This one drops the Azure Chapper tail and also the Azure Chapper plush, which is a lovely blue colour. When players spook these Chappers, a number of clones will flee from the spot and then you will have to hunt the real one. The best method for hunting these is to approach them and scare them and then quickly hit them with 1 dispel arrow. When you do this, the real Chapper will become stunned and then you can quite easily get the remaining shots required into them. You will only find these in the southeastern part of Bahari. Aside from the magical creatures, Bahari is also the home to the tree-loving Mujin. You will find 3 types of Mujin, and occasionally you can find them lurking on the ground, but also when you chop trees, they will flee from them. When hunting Mujin, they will try to flee towards a tree and jump back into them. Often, as part of this, there is a little bit of animation time when they're kind of in a jumping kind of freeze frame, and you can still hunt them in this time just before they jump into that tree. If you get any hits on a Mujin prior to this happening, and then you chop down the tree and continue to hunt them after, the damage will carry over, so it's not lost when they jump in there. All Mujin drop fur and Mujin meat. And again, there are 3 varieties of Mujin: the standard Mujin, which has a chance to drop Mujin mane and also a Mujin plush. The next level is the banded Mujin, which, you've guessed it, has a chance to drop the banded Mujin mane and the banded Mujin plush. And there is, of course, the blue bristle Mujin, which is the magical variety. This one, when it is spooked or falls from a chopped tree, it will become invisible. You might see just like an outline of the Mujin or maybe some sparkles around it. In order to break this visibility, you will need to hit it with a dispel arrow. However, you can still hit them with arrows if you are lucky. Whilst they are invisible, they will still kind of acquire the damage. The rare and valuable drop for these is the blue bristle mane, and there is also a plushie for this one too. My favourite place to hunt for Mujin is the north of Bahari, between the areas of Thorny Thicket and Statue Garden. This is a heavily concentrated area of trees, which means it's perfect for chopping to get those Mujin down. For Cernic, I enjoy hunting around the flooded steppes and sometimes in South Bahari too, but they do seem to be the lower level of Cernics that spawn here more commonly. And finally, for Chappers on the map, I tend to just go anywhere the south of Bahari, around Pulsewater Plain sort of area. There is some spots, if you jump down some cliffs, there is some spots where there is lots of them that tend to spawn there, but they seem to kind of spawn in packs, which is quite nice for when you're hunting. Sometimes you'll also find them on the flooded steppes, but there doesn't seem to be as many that spawn here. And the final map area is obviously the new Elderwood. In the Elderwood, you'll be able to find the Mujin also, and they are specifically in the Matana Grove area and also just a little bit south of here where there is quite a few trees around. The Mujin and all of the other creatures found in the Elderwood do have the chance to become infected, so you can obtain infected essence from them this way. Aside from the Mujin, the Elderwood has also brought with it 2 other new huntable creatures. First up, we have the Agapoo, which is kind of lizard-like, and although there are 3 types of Agapoos, they all act in the same manner. When hit by an arrow or alerted, they will attack players with the sticky slime, causing reduced movement if they hit you. The Agapoo will also begin to run, and they have the potential to disappear by jumping into water pools. You will know that this is going to happen because they rise up on their hind legs. It is not worth trying to hit them when they are in this state due to the amount of arrows it takes to kill them, and unless you're with a big group of people that are hunting, it's very unlikely that you will manage to kill them before they jump away. The common drops for the Agapoo are the Agapoo skin and the Agapoo meat. The Agapoo meat can interestingly be used as a replacement for fish when cooking, so it might be worth keeping hold of a little bit of that. The lowest level of Agapoo are the teal coloured ones, and there is a chance to also drop an Agapoo plush and also Agapoo scales. The next level is the Emerald Agapoo, which unsurprisingly is green, and these have the chance to drop Emerald Agapoo scales and the Emerald Agapoo plushes. And finally, the highest tier is the Waveback Ogapoo, which take a lot more hits to hunt. The rare drop is the Waveback Ogapoo scale and of course a plush as well. My favourite place for hunting these Agapoos is the bog area near the Dimir Dock and Mauve Way. I also do enjoy hunting at Matana Grove, as you don't have to contend with the slime here. However, it is kind of a heavily forested area, so sometimes you may lose them behind a tree. Smos are the other creatures that were added in the Elderwood expansion. These are very different to any other huntable creatures that we have seen before, as they only spawn in specific locations, usually in caves, and you will know if it is a small spawn point as there will be a hole in the ground. The Smos will randomly pop out, allowing for them to be hunted, but they will disappear again when hit by an arrow or startled, and then you will find that they will reappear in another hole. It is essentially like a game of whack-a-mole. The main drops for the Smos is a mixture of mushrooms. These are the staircase mushrooms, elder clan mushrooms, and the floatfish mushrooms. For this creature, there is a standard Smo that can drop the Smol spore and the Smol plush. There is also the elder Smol, which has the potential to drop an elder Smol spore and obviously its respective plush. And finally, the highest level is the pixie Smol, which has the chance of dropping the pixie Smol spore and the Smol plush as well. My preferred place to hunt for the Smos is at this point on the beach. I prefer it to the caves as it's more open and it's kind of easier to see. I try to position myself in a place where I can see a lot of the holes, which makes it easier to hunt. So that is your ammo and what you are hunting. Is there anything available in the game to make hunting easier for you? Well, actually, not really. There isn't anything that's going to power up your ammo to make them deal more damage. However, there is the Hunter's Horn, which when active, it will show on your compass where the magical animals are for 15 real life minutes. You can purchase a recipe for 2,500 gold from Hassian's store. You can also purchase pre-made ones for 25 guild medals. In my opinion, these are pretty cheap to craft. They only require 1 Elder Cernic antler, 3 fur, and 5 leather. But generally you don't need to use these unless you're kind of trying to do an accomplishment. They can come in kind of handy, or you're looking for particular plushes. You could also buy other things from the Hunting Guild store from Hassian. As I mentioned earlier, this is where you will obtain a lot of your recipes for your arrows and bows. But you can also buy things here with hunting medals, which are earned from leveling up your hunting skill or completing weekly accomplishments. The items for sale here include fireworks. Some of these can be purchased with gold too. There is the Hunter's Plaque, which is a nice wall item for 140 medals. There is an animated Cernic Run wallpaper for 220 medals. A placeable furniture item is the Hunter's Target, and you can actually shoot at this, which is pretty cool. It costs 560 medals though. And the big ticket item is the Hunter's Mannequin, which is a Cernic with a target on. This one costs 980 medals. There is also an accomplishment for hunting all types of the creatures, and this will award you with the respective creature head that can be placed on your wall as decor. For the Elderwood creatures, the Smos and the Agapoos, you must have attained all of their rare drops to get the wall decor item. As with the other weekly accomplishment, there are 3 relevant to hunting. The first is the Hungry Archer that requires you to hunt 30 animals. Then there is the Big Game Hunter, which requires you to hunt 5 magical creatures, and the Traveling in Pack, which asks you to hunt 10 creatures with other players. So that is all of the basic information you should know about hunting. Here are some more kind of general tips and pieces of information you should know. If you are in an area where there are some cliffs, try to use them. I find it better sometimes shooting down at the targets, especially if there is quite a few of them around, because if they run, you generally have that better vantage point of knowing where they are running to, and you can kind of get the shots in. If your target is also on the move, incorporate this into your shot and slightly aim in front of them so they are essentially running into your arrow. This really sometimes is just a small amount, and it might depend on your distance from them. Some of the creatures startle pretty quickly, but if you have your bow equipped and you hold it with your left mouth and then you walk forward, you will move slowly, which should prevent the creatures being scared too soon. If you are hunting Chappers, they will jump into the hole to escape, but you can still hunt them when they are like this, and in fact sometimes this is the best point to finish them off. If you hit a Cernic, these will not disappear, so you can chase them and wait for them to return to their idle animation and then finish them off. It just makes it a little bit easier. Obviously it will take a little bit more time, but if you have a lot of kind of Cernic around, then this might help. Beginners will find that as you have the lower level of arrow and bow, it may be easier for you to stick to focusing on the lower level animals until you manage to get those upgrades, and then you can slowly move on to killing or hunting the other creatures. On the whole, hunting is easier with other people, particularly Mujin. Although other animals will disappear, the Mujin seem to disappear the quickest, and due to the speed they run from the trees, they can be particularly hard to hunt solo. You will often find some Mujin on the ground, so if you are hunting solo, you can try and pick these off as well. You can often see some of these Mujin on the ground, and that, if I'm hunting solo, is the only time that I will try and hunt these, because you can kind of pick them off. The best strategy for hunting Mujin is in a group with other people, so you can have one person to chop the tree and the rest will shoot arrows at the Mujin that drop. The person who chopped the tree will still obtain the loot. Being in a party will also help ensure that you get the drops, and there is of course the chance at double loot. However, you can still hunt together and not being a party, as every player that gets a hit on a creature will get the loot. I also said at the beginning that hunting is a good way to make money, so I just want to run you through the things that I do to boost my gold balance. Firstly, always change your hide into leather, and if you get a lot of mushrooms from hunting the Smos, you can also turn these into moon skin at your looms. Although this can be used for crafting, I try not to keep huge amounts of this in my inventory. I also only keep 1 or 2 of the rare drops in my storage. These are really where you will make that good money, and word of warning, if you are a new player, you might want to keep a few more of these, as they are commonly asked for gifts from villagers if you are trying to level up your friendship skill with them. If you are hunting a lot of Mujin and Chapper, you will notice that you get a lot of fur. I tend to sell this straight away. Yes, it can be used for crafting furniture, but not all that much, and it's pretty easy to grab more of it if you do happen to need it. Meat, I do tend to put in my glow and normal worm farms, and then from here I sell any of my worms and fertilizer I have excess of. As I say, you will find that your inventory fills up a lot quicker if you're playing with friends or you team up with someone who is hunting nearby. Often, if I'm alone and I see someone else hunting, I do try and tag along a little bit, and not once in my almost 2 years of playing have I ever been told to go away. So I feel like people are pretty tolerant of this, and after all, it does help them out as well. So if you're nervous about asking someone to team up, maybe kind of take this strategy to your hunting. Let me know in the comments if you have any more hints or tips. Have a great rest of your day and happy hunting. I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.